So you're approaching the finish line on closing on that beautiful home. You don't want anything to go wrong, do you? Well, we have come up with 6 items, the master checklist that you need to know before closing on that home. And we're getting after it right now. What's up, everybody? This is Jackson Ray Wilkey.
And Jesse Ray Dow.
And we are the Real Agent Now group right here in Seattle, Washington. If this is your first time to this channel and you want to learn everything about working, eating, sleeping, living, playing, everything about here, then make sure you tap that subscribe button, click the little bell so you're notified every time we do a new video. Honestly, we have gotten so many phone calls and emails and text messages. We absolutely love it, guys. If you're even thinking about moving anywhere, make sure you give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email, or even send the Seahawk. However you want to get a hold of us, we got your back when moving to Seattle, Washington. All right, so this is a process that obviously we are going through with multiple clients, and especially ones that are moving here. So it's difficult sometimes when you're across the state border, coming from somewhere else, and it's something that we take a lot of pride in, making sure that your home closes. But it is a lot more than just putting that offer down. But Jesse came up with 6 of the top items you need to know, and we're going to jump right into it. So the very first one is you got to get all your contingencies squared away. Go into the contingencies, Jesse. There's 3 of them.
Yep, absolutely. So like the top 3 contingencies that you need to get squared away is number 1 is your home inspection contingency. Depending on if you're in Portland or Washington, they have 2 different inspection contingencies period. The home inspection period is 10 business days.
Yep.
So from the day that your offer is accepted, you have 10 business days to take care of all of your home inspection needs, whether that's water, sewer, septic. It could be a land survey and your general home inspection. And then when you agree on the repairs that need to be done, you typically give them till 3 days before closing to confirm with pictures and the receipts that they've taken care of all those repairs in a timely fashion.
I just want to add something to this real quick because again, a lot of our clients, relocation, they aren't physically here. So this is something that we attend. We attend the inspection. We go over everything. If there's something in this inspection that our buyers don't like, are they stuck with the house still?
Oh, absolutely not. So there's the inspection contingency definitely protects the buyer. So typically there's always going to be things wrong with the home, even in a new construction. But what we are able to do is, come to an agreement on what the seller is going to repair for us by a licensed and bonded contractor. We can even dictate who's going to fix that because there are some people that'll just think they can fix everything on their own. And you do need specific technicians to fix specific things. But if we can't come to terms and the buyer didn't want to move forward, then they could terminate the contract and get all their earnest money back. But it's typically something that we can always come to an agreement on. Love
it. So there is another contingency. It's the appraisal contingency. What's that?
Yeah, so that's basically an appraisal contingency is a third-party company the bank gets assigned to for somebody to go out and give us the value of the home. So say you put in an offer on the house and it was valued at $500,000 and the appraisal came in at say $490,000. What happens there? So that's a house that's came in under appraised value. You can go back to the table and negotiate the sale price of the home. If the seller and the buyer don't come to an agreement, the buyer could terminate the contract and get all their earnest money back. Typically what we see is I would never advise a client to buy a house with 0 equity or negative equity, I should say. So therefore, as we always renegotiate that price down. Sometimes it takes the buyer to come with $5,000 out of pocket and the seller to come with $5,000 out of pocket to meet in the middle, depending on how bad the buyer wants the home and how bad the seller wants to sell the home. Personally, I don't like to have my buyer make up that difference with any amount of money because, like I said, I don't believe that anyone should ever buy negative equity unless they're financing their closing costs into the deal. Mm-hmm. So say the house was originally at $490,000 and you need $10,000 in closing, so you took the value, your purchase price up to $500,000 to cover that. And the appraisal came in at, say $490,000 because you caused the value to go up, then I would definitely tell my buyer that they're just going to need to pay the difference.
Gotcha. And the last one is the financing contingency.
Yes, the financing contingency. That is like where buyers in Oregon and Washington are protected very thoroughly, is that say you go to the day of closing and for some reason the bank decides that they can't give you a loan, the bank is protecting the buyer basically, and the buyer would be able to get all of their earnest money back if they couldn't close on that loan.
Okay, so the number 2 item on the checklist is clearing the title.
Yeah, so this is actually do with the title company is at the very end, and also through the whole process of the purchase is title is going to work, seeing if there's any clouds on title, any liens. A lot of things actually need to be cleared. So say the seller was not paying their child support and they had $30,000 of outstanding child support. They would need to make sure that the seller has $30,000 in equity in the house to cover these liens. Because say you went to go close and the sellers didn't have enough equity into the house, they couldn't sell the house because they didn't have enough equity in that home. Unfortunately, that happened to me once, buying a house for my own personal needs. The seller didn't have enough equity and we couldn't close, but it wasn't with the buyer. We've never had this happen on a buyer side.
The number 3 item on the checklist is getting final mortgage approval.
Yes. So this is super important. That's why we've said in previous videos is that we don't want the buyers, taking out any credit cards during that, contract period, making any big purchases, moving any money around, because what the bank does right before closing, usually it's a day or two before, is they run one more credit pull just to make sure that your credit's still in line with what it was when you did your pre-approval. So we just need to make sure everything's good to go. Once your pre-approval or your final approval is done, we're set to close.
All right, so the number 4 item on the checklist, you've got to review your closing disclosures.
So this is one that I find the most important and the one that causes the most frustration with everybody. And the reason why is because when you submit a pre-approval to your lender, whether it's Quicken Loans, whether it's Mortgage Express, whether it's, our trusted lender here at Addison, everybody thinks they're going to get this great rate that they see online, 3%, things look great. Well, there's so many working variables that when we work with Addison, we call it working on a, base point. So that means that you're not spending any extra money to buy points down. A lot of these companies that say that you're going to get 3%, they're also not telling you that you need to put $30,000 additional dollars down because you're buying the rate down so far. So what a closing disclosure does is this is going to give you all of the statement and every line item of where all your money is going to go at closing and how much you need to bring to the table for those closing costs. A good lender will give you a closing disclosure up front and tell you exactly where all your fees are going to go, how much it's going to cost to close, whether it's 5, 10, 15, 20% down, how much their origination fees are going to cost, and if you're going to buy any points down, how much those points cost to buy down. So this is something very important to go through with your lender. And I've seen this messed up so many times from different variable lenders and also with clients that are using internet banks that think they're going to get this great rate. And then they get this, right before closing and they thought they're going to put 5% down, bringing $10,000 to closing, and all of a sudden now they're bringing $50,000 to closing, and they're just super shocked. Yeah, and I'll say that our lenders that we work with match and beat every single online lender. It's just there's just things that you got to take into consideration and see when you compare them side by side what all makes the best sense for you. And hey, whoever you want to work with and feel the most comfortable with is who we're going to support. So.
Well, we've been through a lot already. This is what's that, 15 days? It's a 10-day inspection period and all this stuff, 15, 20 days down. Now we're getting to the end, the number 5 item on the checklist, and that's doing our final walkthrough. Is everything good to go now?
Yeah, so there is the final walkthrough, and really that's, we always do that 2 days before closing, right after the home repairs are supposed to be done. We walk through the house, make sure all the repairs are done, make sure the house is in good condition. Legally, a seller doesn't need to have the house professionally cleaned. So unless the buyer asks for the house to be professionally cleaned at move out, it's going to be in a movable condition of what the buyer or of what the seller leaves it in. If they trash the house and cause damage, then that's a whole other situation. But the house needs to be in the condition that you saw it on the day you wrote your offer.
And we've gone through all the contingencies. Jesse put his white gloves on and wiped every surface down. Now we are going to the final closing. What on the 6th item of this checklist, we're going to closing. What do they need to bring with them?
Yeah, so our lender that we work so greatly with, he prepares all the documents at the bank with you. Once he prepares all those documents, he sends them to the title company, and the title company is going to sit down with you and myself or our buyer's agent Heather, and they're going to have you go through every single document. They're going to dot the I's, cross the T's. Mm-hmm. This used to take about an hour. Now it's about 20-minute process, but you sign all these great disclosures, and they actually send all those documents back to the bank for you, so you don't have to do it. But what you need to bring to the closing table is a driver's license or active ID, and how you're going to bring your down payment, whether it's a form of check, a money order, or if you're doing a wire. And if you're going to do a wire, you need to set that up in advance before you go in, and the title company will work with you on how to get that done.
Jesse, I'm coming from California. I won't even be able to get there for signing. Like, can I only sign in Oregon or Washington? What's my options?
Oh, Jackson,
help me,
my young student. We work with so many clients from all around the world that we actually have a phenomenal relationship with all title companies, and we will send a mobile notary out to wherever you need us to meet the client to get their documents signed. And we've actually had cases where either the husband or wife couldn't be there, so we actually had gotten a power of attorney in place for one of the signers. So therefore, only one of the spouses had to show up to sign documents, which, moving across the country, maybe you work in some law organizations that, doesn't allow you to meet with people. Therefore, you got to sign power of attorney to a spouse, and then mobile notary will come out and get you signed up real nice like.
We are dialing this process in. Yes, this is the easy checklist, 6 items that, you need to take with you. You're seeing them on the screen right here. Write them down. But hey, we've perfected this. We're doing this with so many clients. And again, our job, our whole being for this YouTube channel is helping you get here. You worry about getting here. We'll take care of the rest. But in order to do that, you've got to reach out to us and give us a call. You got to shoot us a text, send us an email, or even send the Seahawk. However you want to get a hold of us, we got your back when moving to Seattle, Washington.